Okay, good morning, everybody, and welcome. So today, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go over the practice questions on this statistics that I gave you yesterday. So I'll go over this with you because this is gonna be part of that test that's coming up real soon, next week on Monday. So I just want to make sure that you're uh, up to date in these and that you have more practice and you have all the solution on how to do this one here. So, I guess welcome. And so let's just get started in here. So Fred earned grades of 85%, 72, 65, and 90 on four tests in one term in his class. What would be his term mark if his first test is worth 10%, second and third tests were both worth 20%, and the fourth test was worth 50? So this one here, because um, we are given the worth of each particular test, that means it has a different kind of weighting for each test. So we have weights for each test. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just organize it in here so that it's easier to read. So let's organize that first. So these are the tests. I'm just going to write down tests. And then this is what the question used the word worth. Well, that the word worth is the same thing as the weight of the test or worth. Okay, so I'm using the word weights and worth on this one so that we know what that means. So um, test one, first test is worth 10%. So first test, test one is worth, um, okay. And I'm gonna actually write down test mark. Okay, so it says here these are your tests. I'm just gonna write down 85%, 72%, 65, and 90%. Okay, and then it says here first test is worth 10%. So this is worth 10%. The second and third tests were both 20%. So this is 20%. And then this is 20%. And then the fourth test is worth 50%. Now we can take a look at this total weight of this. So total weight is 100%. Okay, so what we're gonna do now that it's organized, it's easier to keep track of what number goes with what. We can now calculate it. So how do we calculate this one? Let's go like this. Weighted, we're actually going to use the weighted mean. Okay, I'll just put WM, weighted mean, is equals to, and just to kind of refresh our memory with that, we said weighted mean is equals to score times weight plus score times weight, and then divided by total weight. Okay, so I just wrote down the formula there so we have it right in front of us. So weighted mean. Okay, so these are the scores. what they got on the test. So it's going to be 85 times what it's worth, 10%, plus 72 times what it's worth is 20, plus 65 times 20, plus 90 times 50, divided by total weight of 100. Okay. I'm just running out of room in here. I'm just going to go right in this, continue on right there. So weighted mean is equals to, I'll work all of these out. So I'll do that all at once. Okay, because there's only 1, 2, 3, 4 separate information there. If you want, you could do the multiplication first, do following the orders of operation. So 85 times 10 plus 72 times 20 plus 65 times 20 plus 90 times 50. And I got 8,090. 8,090. Okay, so multiplying each one, I'll try that again just to double check my work. Yeah, so 8,090, and then we're going to divide it by the total weights, which is 100. So weighted mean, so divide by 100 is equal to 80.9%, 80.9%. Okay, so that's that part there. Okay, I just ran out of room. Okay, now what we're now let's take a look at question number 2. So Bob's final mark was based on tests that are worth 50% on assignment. Okay, again, we're talking about worth. That's meaning the weight of those assignments. And tests are worth 50%. Tests are worth 50%. Assignments are worth 30%. And exam is worth 20. So these are the weights of each kind of assessment. So I'm going to just organize that over here. I'm getting ahead of myself here. If you are in his class, on this class, which one would you make sure that you do really well on? Okay, so based on all of these information, we can say, okay, which one should I really focus all of my making sure that I do a really good job. Provincial exam is worth 20%, assignments is worth 30%, and then tests are 50%. So I will make sure to do well on tests. Okay, because now I got to explain my reasoning. So why test, right? Because tests have the highest weight. Okay, and I'm just gonna closing parentheses here, or worth it's worth more marks, right? Compared to assignments and exam. Assignment and exam. Okay, there you go. Okay. So let's take a look at letter B. And this one here, where we're actually going to be doing the calculation. So like I was going to do that earlier here. Now that we have on question, we're in question B now. It says here, tests are worth 50%, assignments are worth 30, and provincial exam is 20. So what would be Bob's final mark if he scored 55% on the test? Okay, now they're telling us what his actual score is. What and 90% on assignments. Okay, so he did well on assignments and then 50% on the exam. Now, if you take a look at this, just by looking at the way their marks are, the tests are the one that's the most important. Tests are the most important one because it's worth most, 50%. And he scored low on that one. Assignments is worth 30%, and he scored high on that one. And then exam is worth 20%, and he scored 50. So now what you can see, like, oh, okay, so because he did poorly on the test, which is worth a lot of, it has a lot of weight to it or worth, then his overall mark will be pretty low, right? Even though he scored 90% on his assignments. So let me organize it over here first, and then over here I'm going to do the solution. So what is it called? So this one here is what his assessments are. I'll just put assessment because there's different kinds of assessments. It's not just tests. So this one would be tests. And then this one would be his assignment. And then the other one would be exam. Okay. And I'm just going to write down the score. What he got, actually, the number that he got. So on tests, he scored 55%. On assignments, 90%. And exam is 50. These are all percents. And then these are the weights. Or the way it's stated on the question, it's they use the word worth. Okay. Importance. So test is 50% important. Assignments are worth 30% important. And then our exam is worth 20% important. Now over here, what is the total weight? Total weight is 50 plus 30 plus 20. That's 100%. Okay, now we're ready to put our, okay, got some room at the bottom. I think what I'm going to do, so I'm going to do the bottom piece. So here's a formula for weighted mean. I'll just put WM. Weight score times the weight plus score, whatever they got, times the weight plus score times the weight divided by the total weight. Total weight. There you go. So now using our formula in here, we're going to use that and start putting in the numbers in here. So starting with the test. So the test, he scored 55% times, well, how much is the weight of the test? It weighs 50%, or it's worth 50. Okay, it's score times weight, and then plus. Okay, let's go to the next one. Assignment. Assignment is scored 90 times the weight. The weight is 30. Okay, score is 90 times the weight is 30 plus, and then you go over here, exam. Exam is 50%. That's his score. And then the worth is 20% times 20 divided by a total weight of 100. Now this is not a lot, okay? So I can just do it all at once on the calculator. So I'll just go like that. Weighted mean is equal to, okay. So if you're watching this video right now, you can go ahead and type it in and do this along with me. I'll do it right now. I got 6,450 divided by 100. Okay, so let me just double check that. So, yeah, okay, and then if I divide it by 100, I'm gonna get 64.5%. Okay, so that's that one, 64.5%. Okay, so if you have any questions, feel free to write it down on the comments or on the live chat. If you have any questions, or if you um, are not sure of something, or if you want me to um, recalculate something. Okay. Now let's take a look at number 3. Number 3. Number 3 says Janice wants to know how many sports students in her school participate in. She did a survey and found that one sport, 25 students participated in that one sport. Two sports, 75 people participated in that one. Three sports, 32 people, and then four sports, 5 people. So the question is, what is the average number of sports participated by students in Janice's school? So number of sports, okay, number of sports. So this is this is the score. These are the score, and then this is the frequency, how many there are. It's nice already because it's in a table, so we can just go ahead and put that in here, our solution. Now the other thing that we talked about in terms of weighted mean is also, instead of weight, it's by frequency. So we can use, okay, so here's the formula that we saw on our book. Okay, score times frequency plus score times frequency plus score times frequency. And then you do that until until you're completely done. And then divided by total frequency. Okay, so just to kind of refresh our memory, what is frequency again? So the word frequency, okay, you probably know that the word frequent means happening all the time. So frequency means how many times something something is occurring or happening or showing up. Okay, so that's what it means by frequency. How many times do you see it? So what we're going to need to do is we also need to figure out the total frequency. So to figure out the total frequency, let's do that right now so that we could use that in our um, in our formula here. So 25 plus 75, so 137. So we know that there's 137 students that were surveyed. Okay, so let's take a look. So weighted mean, okay, score, number of sports times the frequency, 1 times 25 plus 2 times 75 plus 3 times 32 plus 4 times 5 divided by 137. Okay, so let's go ahead and calculate the numerator, the top number. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to figure out the top number first. Okay. Okay, I got it, 291. 291 divided by 137. 291 divided by 137. So let me just double check that one. 291. And then divide by 137 students is approximately, now the answer is 2.14. Okay, so 2.12. Okay, now let me go back again. What is the average number of sports participated by students in? Number of sports. So when you look at this one here, oh yeah, my answer is 2.12, but we're talking about the number of sports. Number of sports is either one sport or two sports or three sports or four sports and so on. So in this particular case, we need to round it off appropriately. So in this one here, the average is two sports per student. Okay, because nobody could participate in a 2.12 sports. So two sports per student. Okay, now I'm gonna give you a little bit of time, maybe a minute, to kind of think about that first. I'm actually gonna make a little note here. Note, round off to appropriate number of sports. So, okay. Okay, so that's good. Hope that makes sense. And now this one in here. Let's read the question first and then let's see what's going on in here. Um, Louie creates pottery that she sells at a craft store. In one day, she sold 5 items for $25 each, 12 items for $16 each, 3 items for $21 each, 6 items for $14 each, and then 1 item for 45 bucks. And this one is a tricky question. Oh, I wouldn't say it's super tricky, but it's kind of tricky because um, let's take a look at the question. What is the mean cost? So we're looking for the cost per item, per item. So in this particular case, I'm actually going to organize that, okay, in this because this is where, okay, cost and then frequency. So this, what we're really calculating is the mean cost. So the cost, that's our score, and then how many items are sold in that, that's the frequency. So it might look like the way it's presented in here, it's backwards, right? So mean cost, so the cost is $25, and how many are sold for 25 bucks? Frequency 5. And then $16 for 12 items, $16 each, 12 items are sold. That's the frequency. $21. How many times did it 21 showed up? Is 3. $14 is 6. And then 45 bucks is 1. Okay. So yeah, like I said, this one is a little tricky because the way the information is laid out is backwards. So cost is the score, frequency is the number of items sold. So from here, now that we've figured out its cost and then the frequency is number of sold items sold, then we can do the weighted mean. So weighted mean is equals to 25 times 5 plus 16 times 12 plus 21 times 3 plus 14 times 6 plus 45 times 1. Okay, so this times this plus this times that. So these are being multiplied and then divided by the total frequency. So here, total frequency is, let's calculate that one. It's 27. Okay, it's 27. So I got to put 27 at the bottom. Okay. There you go. Okay, so if you have any questions about that, let me know and just write a little comment on the side if you have any questions. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to figure out the numerator. So let's calculate that numerator and then write it in. Okay, so I got a 509. Okay, let me recalculate that again just to make sure. Yes, 509. So when you figure that out, just write it on the top, right? That's your numerator divided by denominator. So now we go 509 divided by 27 is 18.85. Okay, so let's take a look. So what would be the unit for this? Okay, what is the weighted mean cost for this item, for all of these items that were sold? So it's going to be 1885. It's dollars per item. Okay. Now, I also want to point out something in here. So this one here is, these are dollars. So $25 times 5, that's going to be, all of that is dollars. All of the numerator is worth dollars. And then here, what's 27? Those are the 27 items. 27 items. So if we divide that, $509 divided by 27 items, we're going to get, the unit will still be dollars per one item. Dollars per one item. Okay, so that one is done. So far we've done questions 1 through 4. Okay, and showing all of our work here. We're not rushing. We're showing every single steps. Okay, leave that alone for now. We're going to go to question number 5, 6, and 7. So those first 4 questions are talking about weighted means. Now, this last page is going to be on percentile ranking. So let's do percentile ranking. So percentile ranking is basically figuring out where a specific data is placed among every other data that were collected. So we wanted to know, we want to rank it by, and to do that, we are going to be using percentile ranking. I'm just going to write the formula here. And of course, this is on your booklet as well. So percentile ranking, I'm just going to write that as PR, percentile rank, is equals to B divided by N times 100. Oh, not 100. Okay, not 100%, it's just 100. Okay. So what does the B represent? It represents how many are below the given score. So we want to know how many are below the given score. And then N would be how many are there all together times 100. So we're given all these stuff in here. Okay, that's this one we got to do a little bit of work because none of these are in particular order. So it's not in any order from smallest to biggest. So we really have to count it really well. So calculate the percentile ranking of 172. So what we're going to do is this is the score that we want. Score is 172 centimeters. Okay. Now, because we're looking for percentile ranking of 172, we're going to count how many scores or data are below 172. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to count, see how many score or data that are below 172. So let's go over here. I'm just going to put a check mark on there. So this is, remember 172 is my number. So this is below 172. Okay. Now 172, I got to this part here. 172 is not below 172, so that doesn't count. 142, 143. So how many are below 172? So this is not below, this is not below, this is not below. Okay, so we've counted the below 172 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 of them. So we go PR, percentile ranking of 172. How many are below? Below, divide by n times 100. So PR, what did I say? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Divided by how many are there altogether? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 times 100. Okay. So 6 divided by 12 times 100. So you can calculate that, and we're going to get a 50. Okay. Now, this is not 50. Our percentile ranking is 50, 50th percentile. 50th. So he's ranking 50th. So we can write that as P50. Okay. So you can write down 50th percentile. Okay. Or write it as P50. Okay. Or PR50. So you can, this is your answer. This is your answer. Now, what does that mean? So what does this mean? What does P50 mean? Okay, because we want to know what that means. We've calculated it, but what does it mean? It means 50% of the data are below it means 50% of the data are below 172 centimeters. Okay, so we've ranked the 172 centimeters. It ranked 50, And what does that mean? It means that 50% of the data are lower than 172 centimeters. Okay. I know it doesn't say that on here. Like, it just says calculate the percentile rank of 172. But there might be some question. But what does that percentile ranking mean? If that was a question, that's your answer. Okay. Now let's take a look at letter B. Okay. Take a look at letter B. Okay, I see that some people are just joining us, and I guess um, I welcome you if you're just joining us. And yeah, just at any point, if you have any questions, let me know. So let's take a look at question number 5B. It says calculate the percentile ranking of 190 centimeters. Okay, now this is the score that we're going to focus on. So now we're going to compare and look. We're going to count how many score or data. Okay, because sometimes it's the word score is there, sometimes it's data. So count how many score or data are below 190. Okay, so let's go up here because these are all of our data. I'm just gonna, this is not in order from smallest to biggest. I have to be really paying attention in here. So how many of these players are below 190? So this is below 190. Okay, so almost all of it except for one. Okay, because we have to look for the ones that are below. That means lower than 190 centimeters. Okay, as it says here, we want to go and count the number that are below 190 centimeters. Okay, so let's do percentile ranking. PR B over N times 100. So I start off with the formula. So how many are below? There should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 are below. Divided by n. N would be how many are there all together. So that's 12 times 100. Okay, I want to make sure that you're not writing the percent because here it's not a percent. Percentile ranking is not a percent. I know because it says percentile, right? Sounds like it's a percent. So it's 11 divided by 12 times 100. Let's calculate that. So it's 91.6. Repeating. So 91.6 repeating. Okay. Now, over here, when we talked about percentile ranking yesterday, or the other day, we said that we always round it up. So note, I'm going to write down here, note, we always round up to nearest whole. Number. Okay, so here there's going to be no decimal, so it's going to be 90. You can write down 92nd percentile, or you can go P92. Okay, so we always round up. Okay. And it doesn't matter what the decimal is. If there's like, if this is 91.1, we still round it off to 92. If this is 91.4, we still round it off to 92, 92nd percentile. Okay. I know that this is not part of the question. The question just says calculate the percentile ranking. But what, I'm just going to write it here. What does P92 mean? Okay. P92 means, it means that 92% of the data are below the score, below 190 centimeters. Okay. So that's what it means. That's how we interpret. This is the calculation, and this is the interpretation. Calculation, interpretation. Okay. So we're almost there. We're almost. Let's take a look at question number 6. In Rowan's class, she scored 90%. She scored 90% and her ranking is 40th percentile. Explain how this is possible. So in Rowan's class, her score is high. Score is high, but ranking is low. How is that even possible? So Rowan's score is high, but her ranking is low because there are a lot more people got marks higher than what she got. Okay, so even though she scored high, her rank is low. That just tells us that there are a lot more people who are higher than her. So that means, it means when she got a 40th percentile, it means her mark, her score is that means 40% of the 40% of the class got lower than 90, than her score, 90%. And then let's take a look at number 7. Oh, actually, I'm going to add a little bit more there. Since her ranking is P40, it means that only 40% of the students only 40% of the students got a score lower than 90%. Okay. Okay, so it means that only 40% of students got a score lower than 90%, which is Rowan's score. Okay, let's go. This is the final one. In Bonnie's class, she scored 55%. Okay, well, not super good. She scored low, but then her ranking is high. Ooh, explain how this is possible. How can somebody scored low rank high? Well, how is it possible? So, even though Bonnie scored low, her ranking is high because because 90% of the students in the class got lower than 55%. So her ranking is high, even though she scored low. That means there are a lot more people, 90% of people got a lower mark than. So a lot of students, 90% of them, got lower than what Bonnie got. Okay, so this is where it's important to understand the meaning of percentile ranking. Okay. So because it's 90th percentile, that means 90% are below. So this is what sometimes I write it as a percentile rank score. 90th percentile, 55% score. So 90th percentile, that means all of these people, if we were to arrange all of the numbers from lowest to highest, she's on the 90th percentile. And that means all of these people got lower than 55. So so that concludes all of our solution to these questions. I will have these full solution on the blog right away. And I just want to let you know that stats test is on for Monday, and all of the outline about all of the information about the test is on the blog. So make sure you to read up on the blog. And yeah, so leave that with you. So for today, for the rest, hey, Okay, so for the rest of the class for today, um, it would be nice to um, do the review, and the review is from your booklet. So if you take a look at this unit review, that's going to be on page 18. So this is a good review because it talks about everything that we talked about um, on stats. Okay, so I leave that with you, and yeah, have a good afternoon or have a good day, and yeah. So I'm glad that someone is still watching this. Yeah. Okay. So I highly, highly encourage you to participate. Um, even though you're not part of officially in our class, but yeah, anybody, if you know somebody, if you have friends that you think that might benefit from our lesson for today, yeah, like you can tell them to view the blog and then view the lessons. Okay, so I'm glad that you were able to participate in our class today. And if you're watching later, I'm glad that you're watching. So, any questions, send me a message and then I will get back to you yeah, as soon as I can. Okay. Have a good afternoon, everybody, and I'll talk to you later. Okay. Bye for now. Oh, okay. Awesome.